Hi, this is Kat. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share 8 lessons that I learned from my first year of bullet journaling. This is my first year doing any type of journaling at all, and I have 4 notebooks here. So I have these 2 A5 bullet journals. This one that I can't pronounce from this company. And then I have this journal from Riley Autumn, also an A5. I have this little cute A6 from Archer and Olive, and then I have a 1 line a day 5-year memory book journal. And I started my bullet journaling journey, or my journaling journey, because I really wanted to find a way to do gratitude journaling. And I can't remember the exact notebook where I first saw this, but I saw a journal where every day had the same template outline of, I think it's like, how are you feeling this morning, one thing you're grateful for, highlights and things you learned. And I was really inspired by that, and I wanted to do something similar, but I wanted to customize it a lot more, and that's how I kind of got into bullet journaling. So I'm going to share 8 things that I learned, starting with 4 things that didn't work. Number 1, having a 1 line a day journal. The first thing that didn't work for me was this 1 line a day journal. So I actually filled in quite a lot of it. I got to July, I think, but then I stopped. And I stopped because I moved, and during the first 2 weeks of moving, it was so chaotic, and it honestly just slipped my mind, and I didn't even remember which box I put it in, so I didn't journal, and then it just completely slipped my mind and I stopped doing it. And I thought it was going to be really cool, but I think one thing that I also learned was that it was really hard to keep up even without the move. I travel quite a bit, and this always felt like this additional heavy thing. I mean, it's not that big, compared to like the A5, but it still felt like an additional heavy thing to carry with me. And so I really wasn't motivated to carry around with me when I traveled. And then there were also a lot of days where I was really tired or busy or something, and I'd end up filling it in the day after. So it wasn't even completely accurate, and I didn't have like a good routine down for filling it in. So yeah, this did not work for me, even though I kind of wanted it to. I'm going to think about whether or not I want to incorporate it into like a daily bullet journal, but I kind of doubt it because this format just wasn't really my favorite. Number 2, setting up a spread months in advance. Setting up a spread months in advance did not work for me, even though I really wanted it to, because I have so much stationery and I get so excited whenever I buy a new stationery that I want to use it immediately and, play around with it, and yeah, but that didn't work. And the reason for that is because my journaling habits kind of changed over time. Hi, Kat. So if you take a look at my September spread, I have like a gratitude journaling spread here, and I realized that halfway through the year I really stopped doing the gratitude journaling that I had in mind, and so these pages kind of just went unused afterwards. And so it's a bit of a shame, but I've learned now that I should not commit to a specific spread for a bullet journal or like a daily section months and months in advance, because that can change. But that's just me. Number 3, having an annual tracking journal. First of all, I really love this scrapbooky layout here with the string that I cut out from old magazines, and tracking my exercising in this like annual layout did really work for me, and I continue to do it. But I think what didn't work for annual tracking is that I have like a page on like movies and TV shows that I watched, which I still have not filled out. I don't really know why, but it just didn't really work. And then I also put my reading journal in here, which was a form of like annual tracking, but I ran out of pages because I also combined it with my travel journal. And so all of these like annual things that I thought I would kind of compile for 2024, it was too much in one book, and I just ran out of space. Like, this was really not enough for me to do reading journal especially, which is why I have a new reading journal set up for 2025. I'll link the video I have on that with this journal, which I'm really excited to dedicate completely just to reading. But yeah, it didn't work for me to have it in like this annual format because I really just ran out of pages. I used to only read like 10 books a year, which is why I thought it would work for me. And this year I've been reading a lot more, and that's kind of why I decided to change it up. But yeah, this journal just became this weird hodgepodge of a lot of different things, and I really don't like it.
Number 4, travel journaling.
The main reason my travel journal didn't work out for me is because, again, it's kind of the same problem as my annual journal, because this is part of my annual journal, and it's that it's too much all in one book, and it's also too heavy because I always keep my daily notebook with me whenever I go anywhere, and so having a second journal makes it really heavy, and I kind of want to avoid it. So sometimes I don't bring it with me actually, and I fill it out afterwards, and they still turned out really nice. Let's see if I can find a page. Yeah, like I still have done some scrapbooking for some of my travels, and I like the way that the pages have turned out. Oh, this one is kind of falling apart a little bit, but I think it's mostly my fault because I used too much clunky materials that have made it really heavy. But yeah, so next year I think what I'm going to do instead is, for memory keeping and traveling related things, I'm going to put it into my daily journal instead.
Now for 4 things I learned that did work really well. Number 1, mood tracking.
I really love mood tracking this year. This is an example of like the mood tracking I did, and then here is another one with these little seashells. I had a lot of fun setting it up because you could add a lot of really cute designs to mood tracking depending on your theme, but I got a lot of value out of tracking this, so I'm definitely going to continue mood tracking moving forward.
Number 2, monthly reflections.
At the end of every monthly setup, I have a blank page, or sometimes 2 blank pages, that I dedicate to a monthly reflection. And I just kind of write out my thoughts on what happened last month and reflecting on it. And I really love that. And I honestly think that that's probably the parts of my journal that I'm going to look back on the most over time. So it works a lot better for me than like a 1 line a day type of situation, because it's just once a month and there's less pressure to do it on a very specific day. But this is a setup that really worked for me, and I really loved that aspect of self-reflection. So I will definitely be continuing this in future months and years.
Number 3, calendar setups.
I love a calendar setup, and I really realized that only, I think, by September of this year. So I've only been doing it for a couple of months, but I'm really getting a lot of value out of a calendar setup, and I've learned that I really like a larger spacing. So I think the first calendar setup I did had like a 4x4 dot grid spacing, which was a bit small for me. And now I've adopted a 6x5 dot grid spacing for my calendars, which kind of takes up the whole page. I think even a 5x5 can work well for me as well, but I really love this setup, and so I will definitely be continuing monthly calendar setups for my journals.
Number 4, starting a learning journal.
And finally, the last thing is setting up a learning journal. I only did this very recently, but so far it's working really well, and I have it in this little tiny A6 notebook by Archer and Olive, which I'm obsessed with the spine. But I set up a learning journal, and basically anytime I'm reading something and I learn something, or I read an article or listen to a podcast or something like that, I will write my notes and takeaways into the journal, and it's just like a way to reinforce what I've learned and remember any important notes. And I haven't done this type of notebook since I was in school, but I really like that, and I think that it's been working really well. So far I haven't done a whole lot of it, but I'm really excited, and it gives me an excuse to use more of my pens and markers, so always great. But yeah, and those are the 8 things that I learned this year bullet journaling. I'm really excited for next year already because I have so many other ideas that I have for my bullet journals for next year. But let me know in the comments if you have learned something about yourself or about journaling that works well for you or that doesn't work well for you down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.